Hello, everybody. This is Nik and Adinah Johnson. We hope that you're having a great day. Anything you want to say before we get kicked in, baby? Good?
No, well, just we're getting more subscribers, and we appreciate that. We just really want the word to get out and information to get out to help relationships and couples have a successful and happy relationships.
What kind of relationship?
Successful and happy relationship.
Thought you say successful. No, we don't want to take the stuff from him.
I'm going to get him. Y'all going to see him get it one day.
Oh, yes. Yes, one day. Hopefully not today. But we're going to talk about... if anybody knows what reference that comes from, put it down in the comments. Right. We won't say that you're dating yourself. Just say, pow, zoom straight to the moon.
Right. Say, okay. Right to the kisser.
Yep. So we're going to talk about something that can be difficult. Yeah. That's conversations. Sometimes when you need to talk about fun stuff, like where you're going on vacation. Yeah. Let's see here. Anything really. I mean, vacations. Where we're gonna go for dinner, stuff like that. That's nothing that's that complicated. But sometimes in a relationship, you have to have some really difficult conversations. And today, that's where we're going to try to focus on. So, honey, I know you're going to be starting us off with this, so please feel free to go ahead.
Well, when we talk about difficult conversation, I think it's so important to be direct. You have to be direct. I think it's so important when I want to have a difficult conversation with Nik. I don't talk to my girlfriends. I don't talk to other people about it. I talk directly to you. So I have to be direct with the person that I want to have the difficult conversation with. And I think that's so important.
Okay, so I guess from what you're saying, as far as being direct, one thing I would probably ask you does direct have to be brutal?
No. And as I go through the steps, you'll see it's not brutal.
Okay, so we can be direct, but still speak the truth in love.
Exactly, speak the truth in love. I mean, if I have to have a difficult conversation with you, and I'm sure we'll give examples of when we've had to have difficult conversations with individuals and how we had to be direct. I mean, I think so often if we don't know what we want to say, then it's very difficult for another person to understand what we're saying. So that brings me to step 2, which is be specific. Mm-hmm. Be specific and give examples of, okay, well, you did this and, I need to bring it to your attention that you did this. I don't think it necessarily has to be on Thursday, October 5th at 5:00. I don't think it has to be that specific, but I do think it's important to be specific as far as what happened and how it made you feel.
Okay, so don't play no games.
No, don't play any games. So that's number 1, be direct. Number 2, be specific. And number 3, plan out the conversation. And I think it's so important to plan the conversation, jot down notes, because so often when we get in a heated conversation, we lose focus and we can't. And so if we have notes, it's important to go back to your notes and say, okay, this is what I'm trying to say, and explain your point of view with plan out the conversation, have a difficult conversation and plan it out. I think it's also important to plan it out, make an appointment if needed. That way that person is prepared for the conversation. Not, I have a 5:00 appointment, so what do you got to say? Say it quickly. Because that's going to frustrate both parties involved.
Now, what do you say to someone who says that there might be a lack of sincerity because you have notes?
Well, I think... And you need to explain to them, I have notes because I want to be specific. I want to be direct. I don't want to get off topic. And this is so important to me. I need to have some notes to write down how it made me feel. What was I going through at that time? And sometimes that takes journaling. I mean, I know Oprah said writing things down is cathartic. And that's what, that made Tyler Perry to start writing things down. So I don't think it's disingenuous to write it down. I think it makes it more appropriate to write it down. When we have difficult conversations at work, we write those things down. We write minutes, notes. We jot down agendas. We do all of those things at work. Why can't we do it at home where it's much more important?
Okay, so you're saying that if someone does question why you have things rolled out, you say, hey, you know what, this is very important to me. And also I want to make sure that, we're having the highest and best use of our time together as we discuss this. I want to stay on topic.
Mm-hmm. I think it might be important to explain that before you get involved. That way they can know who you are, understand where you're coming from, and know, hey, I have notes. Kind of like get the elephant out of the room. Just be specific about that and be direct. Hey, this is what I'm doing. Also, watch your language. That's number 4. It's so important that you watch your language because with many people, the second you start using foul language or they just shut down. They can't handle that. So it's so important to watch your language, watch your tone, and watch how you're talking to a person because many times it's our delivery. And we've heard that a lot. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So it's so important to watch your language. I mean, because you can have a cure of cancer, but if you don't articulate it properly, no one's going to receive it.
So that one is important to do things like use I statements in a conversation like that?
Yeah, and if someone is interested in I statements, we have a video on that already, and so you can link it down to the bottom so they can be prepared for the I statements. Alrighty. So number 4, watch your language. Number 5, offer solutions, and that goes with the request.
Complaint with request for change.
Complaint with a request for change, where you offer a solution. You explain to them how you want to feel, or you explain to them how they made you feel and how they can do things differently. Because it's so much easier if I don't have to guess, and if I can tell you how it made me feel, and what you could do differently to make me feel better.
It's really easy to complain, but it's more difficult to come up with a solution. So definitely bring that to the table.
Absolutely. And then manage your emotions. I think so often when individuals cannot manage their emotions, that's when things get very difficult for them. It's important to manage your emotions. You're the one that came with the conversation. Don't let individuals pull you into a space where it's not healthy for either party. So it's so important to manage your emotions. And, one of the reasons why we wanted to talk about difficult conversations, because I hear so often that individuals are having a hard time having certain conversations. Some things are off the table. And I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's okay for partners to be in a situation where they cannot talk to their spouse about something. So manage your emotions.
That's not saying that you can't be empathetic, but just manage your emotions.
Which is the next step. Step number 7, be empathetic. Did you read my notes?
A little bit. No, honestly, that's be empathetic is what crossed my mind. So honestly, I didn't cheat.
You're so cute. Be empathetic. Understand their points of view. Also, I mean, how many times is it that we have a difficult conversation or we have a conversation with someone and they say, well, I didn't mean it that way. And you have to be earnest and honest with them and say, okay, I'm glad you didn't mean it that way, because if you were meaning it that way, that is what hurt me. So it's so important that you're empathetic to them as well, because oftentimes people are not setting out to hurt you. And so with your spouse, it's so important to have that goodwill and be open enough to talk to them about it. And then lastly, allow questions. Allow the person the opportunity to ask questions. It's so important to ask questions, or to allow them to ask questions and ask them, do you have any questions of me, and how can I make it better for you as well? Because it's a win-win when we have difficult situations and difficult conversations with our spouse.
Yes.
Any questions on that?
I'm scared to ask any questions. It's important that you really be willing to have those ask questions, because in asking those questions, you'll have that dialogue that's extremely important.
And you can have a better understanding with each other. So that's so important to ask those questions and to get a better understanding. And I think it makes the intimacy closer. I think it makes it a happier union and more closer when you can ask those questions and when you can have that dialogue and when you can have those difficult conversations and it's not a problem.
Yeah. Once you've decided to spend the rest of your life with somebody, the last thing you need to do is be afraid to have any kind of conversations with them. Might be uncomfortable, might even be difficult, but that doesn't mean that we should not have them and that those issues cannot be addressed.
And resolved.
Absolutely. I had to start using absolutely. Now it's back. Okay, so thank you all so much. This has been Nik and Adinah Johnson. We want to thank you all for viewing this video. If you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. If you know someone who has talked to you about having a difficult conversation with someone, feel free to share this link with them and make sure to like. Did I already say subscribe?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do it twice. And we will talk with you later. Take care and God bless.
Thank you.